Far away in the vastness of space, aboard a colossal orbital station circling Proxima Centauri, something monumental was happening. The galaxy's most powerful council had gathered to discuss Earth, a small blue planet tucked away on the edge of an unremarkable solar system. To these advanced civilizations, Earth wasn't much more than a footnote in their grand cosmic plans. It was primitive, chaotic, and unaware of the intricate politics swirling around it. But now Earth had become a problem, a big one. The issue? A hostile alien faction known as the Veilith. These beings were ruthless, driven by conquest and expansion. They saw Earth not as a home for billions of people, but as a resource-rich target ripe for plundering. For years, they had watched humanity from afar, studying its weaknesses. Now they declared war. Their message was clear: surrender or be annihilated. When news of the Veilith threat reached the Council, there was no hesitation. They convened immediately, their holographic forms flickering into existence inside the Council chamber. Each representative spoke with authority, weighing options and debating strategies. But here's the thing about councils: they don't always make decisions based on compassion. More often than not, they think in terms of efficiency, pragmatism, and self-preservation. And so, after hours of deliberation, they came to a chilling conclusion. Earth was expendable. Sacrificing it would buy time, preserve stability, and keep the Veilith at bay, at least for a while. But before making this decision official, protocol demanded that Earth be given a chance to plead its case. After all, even the smallest voice deserved to be heard, right? So, humanity was summoned to send a single delegate to appear before the Council. This person wouldn't just represent a nation or government, they'd represent the entire species. The weight of that responsibility was staggering. Back on Earth, chaos reigned. News of the Council's ultimatum spread like wildfire, sparking panic and confusion. People took to the streets demanding answers. Governments scrambled to respond, knowing full well that failure meant extinction. In the end, the choice fell to someone unexpected. Not a politician, not a military leader, but a scientist. Someone who understood both the fragility and potential of humanity. This delegate stepped onto the council floor with nothing but a mysterious device clutched tightly in their hands. The room fell silent as all eyes turned toward them. Whispers rippled through the chamber, some curious, others dismissive. To the council, this human looked insignificant, almost comical compared to the towering figures of other species. Yet there was something in their posture, a quiet determination that commanded attention. As the delegate began to speak, their voice trembled, not out of fear, but because every word carried the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. They didn't beg for mercy or try to justify humanity's worth. Instead, they unveiled something extraordinary, something no one saw coming. And just like that, the Council's assumptions were shaken. Humanity might have been small, weak, and unprepared, but it wasn't without options, not anymore. The council chamber was silent as the delegates stood before the towering figures of advanced civilizations. The air felt heavy, almost suffocating, but the delegate didn't falter. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about proving that humanity had value, even in a galaxy where it seemed so insignificant. The mysterious device in their hands hummed faintly, drawing curious glances from the council members. It looked unassuming, like a small metallic cube no bigger than a fist. but its contents held the potential to change everything. When the delegate finally spoke, their voice carried a quiet confidence. They explained that Earth had been working on something revolutionary, something born out of desperation and ingenuity. For years, scientists back home had been experimenting with bioengineering technology, by trying to unlock the secrets of evolution itself. What they discovered wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a lifeline for humanity. The device contained blueprints for a serum capable of accelerating human evolution. In theory, it could grant people abilities far beyond their natural limits: strength, speed, resilience, and even heightened intelligence. But there was a catch, a big one. The process was irreversible. Once someone took the serum, there was no going back. Their bodies would adapt in ways no one fully understood yet, and the risks were enormous. Some test subjects had shown incredible results, while others hadn't survived. The delegate admitted this openly, knowing honesty was the only way to earn the council's trust. "We're not asking for perfection," they said. We're asking for a chance." The room erupted into chaos. Council members exchanged heated arguments, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of disagreement. Some dismissed the idea outright, calling it reckless and irresponsible. How could an entire species gamble with its own existence? Others, however, leaned forward in fascination. To them, the concept was bold, daring, a glimpse into what made humanity unique. Here was a species willing to take unimaginable risks to survive, even if it meant rewriting its very DNA. One council member, representing a civilization known for its mastery of genetic engineering, raised a pointed question. "If your plan succeeds, how do you intend to control the consequences? Evolution is unpredictable. You risk creating something uncontrollable." The delegate hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Hey, control isn't our goal. Survival is. We understand the risks, but we also know that doing nothing guarantees our extinction. If we fail, at least we'll have tried. Isn't that better than giving up without a fight?" The debate dragged on for hours, each side presenting arguments that grew more intense by the minute. Meanwhile, time was running out. The Veilith fleet was closing in, their sleek warships cutting through space like blades. Every second wasted in deliberation brought them closer to Earth. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the council reached a decision. They wouldn't fully endorse the plan, not yet, but they agreed to give humanity a provisional chance. The delegate was told to return to Earth and provide evidence of the serum's effectiveness within days. Failure to do so would mean abandoning the proposal entirely. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. People gathered around screens in homes, offices, and public squares, watching broadcasts of the delegate's address. There was a mix of hope and fear in their eyes. Hope because humanity had been given a fighting chance. Fear because the stakes were unimaginably high. Scientists worked around the clock, refining the serum and preparing for large-scale trials. Volunteers stepped forward, some driven by patriotism, others by sheer curiosity. Among them was a former soldier who had once fought in Earth's wars. Now retired, they saw this as an opportunity to serve again, albeit in a very different way. The first round of trials began in secret laboratories scattered across the globe. Each volunteer received a carefully measured dose of the serum, monitored closely by teams of researchers. At first, other results were promising. Some individuals developed enhanced physical abilities. They could run faster, lift heavier objects, and endure extreme conditions. Others showed cognitive improvements, solving complex problems with ease. But not everyone fared well. A few volunteers experienced severe side effects, their bodies unable to cope with the rapid changes. One man fell into a coma, his vital signs fluctuating wildly. Another suffered hallucinations, claiming to see visions of places and events they couldn't possibly know about. Despite these setbacks, progress continued. The former soldier emerged as a standout case. Within hours of receiving the serum, they exhibited extraordinary abilities. Their strength increased tenfold, allowing them to bend steel bars with ease. Their reflexes became lightning fast, enabling them to dodge projectiles fired at close range. But the most surprising development was mental. They reported experiencing vivid dreams filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented memories that didn't belong to them. Researchers were baffled. Was this a side effect of the serum or something else entirely? Word of the soldier's transformation reached the council, along with detailed reports of the trial results. While far from perfect, the data demonstrated undeniable potential. Humanity had unveiled an option, one that defied conventional wisdom and challenged the limits of biology itself. But the council remained cautious. They demanded further proof, insisting that the serum be tested under real-world conditions. Only then would they consider endorsing it as a viable solution. As the deadline approached, tension mounted, and the Valeth fleet loomed ever closer, their arrival imminent. Humanity faced a harrowing choice: deploy the serum en masse and risk unforeseen consequences, or abandon the plan and prepare for invasion. Either way, the future hung precariously in the balance. Back on Earth, the weight of the Council's decision settled over humanity like a storm cloud. People were divided. Some saw the serum as their last hope, while others viewed it as a reckless gamble that could destroy everything they held dear. News outlets buzzed with debates, social media exploded with opinions, and protests erupted in cities worldwide. The streets filled with chants, banners, and cries of fear or defiance. "Save humanity," some shouted, holding signs adorned with hopeful slogans. Others countered with warnings. "Don't play God." The world was fractured, teetering on the edge of chaos. In secret laboratories hidden beneath mountains, buried deep underground, or concealed within sprawling urban complexes, scientists worked tirelessly. They knew time was slipping through their fingers like sand. Every second mattered. The Valeth fleet wasn't just approaching, it was accelerating, its shadow looming larger with each passing hour. Inside these labs, volunteers lined up, ready to take the serum despite the risks. Some came out of duty, others out of desperation. A few simply wanted to believe in something bigger than themselves. The trials intensified. Each volunteer received a carefully measured dose, monitored by teams of researchers who tracked every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of change. At first, the results seemed miraculous. One man, a farmer from a small village, found himself able to lift boulders he once couldn't even move with machinery. A young woman, barely out of her teens, discovered she could run faster than any Olympic athlete, her legs moving so quickly they blurred. Another volunteer, an elderly scientist, reported a sudden surge in mental clarity, solving equations that had stumped him for years. But not all outcomes were positive. For every success story, there was a tragedy waiting in the wings. One volunteer collapsed hours after receiving the serum, their body racked with seizures. Doctors scrambled to stabilize them, but it was too late. They slipped into a coma, their condition worsening by the minute. Another began hallucinating, seeing shadowy figures lurking in corners where none existed. Their screams echoed through the lab until sedatives finally silenced them. Worst of all was a middle-aged engineer who developed uncontrollable aggression. In a fit of rage, they attacked the medical staff before being restrained. These failures weighed heavily on everyone involved, casting a dark shadow over the project. Amidst the turmoil, one individual stood out, a former soldier who had volunteered early in the trials. Their transformation was unlike anything the researchers had seen before. Within hours, their muscles grew denser, their reflexes sharper, and their endurance unmatched. They could sprint for miles without tiring, leap across rooftops with ease, and withstand impacts that would have crippled an ordinary person. But what truly set them apart were the visions. From the moment the serum coursed through their veins, the soldier began experiencing vivid dreams. And these weren't ordinary dreams. They felt real, almost tangible. They saw strange landscapes bathed in alien light, heard whispers in languages they didn't recognize, and relived moments from lives they'd never lived. At first, they dismissed it as a side effect, a glitch in their rewired mind. But then the visions started making sense. Fragments of information pieced together, revealing patterns, strategies, and insights about the Valith. It was as if the serum had unlocked a hidden part of their consciousness, tapping into knowledge buried deep within the universe itself. Researchers were baffled. Was this a fluke? A random mutation triggered by the serum? Or was it something more profound? A glimpse into humanity's untapped potential? Whatever the explanation, the soldier became a beacon of hope. Their abilities, and combined with the cryptic visions, offered a glimmer of possibility in an otherwise bleak situation. Word of their progress reached the council, along with detailed reports of the trial results. While far from perfect, the data demonstrated undeniable promise. Humanity had unveiled an option, one that defied conventional wisdom and challenged the limits of biology itself. But the council remained cautious. They demanded further proof, insisting that the serum be tested under real-world conditions. Only then would they consider endorsing it as a viable solution. Meanwhile, the Valith fleet loomed ever closer, their arrival imminent. Humanity faced a harrowing choice: deploy the serum en masse and risk unforeseen consequences, or abandon the plan and prepare for invasion. Either way, the future hung precariously in the balance. As the deadline approached, governments around the world convened emergency meetings. Leaders debated the ethics of mass deployment, weighing the risks against the potential rewards. Some argued that humanity had no choice. The serum was their only shot at survival. Others countered that forcing billions of people to undergo such a drastic transformation without consent was unethical, perhaps even criminal. The arguments grew heated, tempers flared, and decisions stalled. In the midst of this chaos, ordinary citizens began taking matters in their own hands. Rumors spread about underground networks distributing unauthorized doses of the serum. Desperate individuals sought out these black market supplies, willing to risk everything for a chance at survival. Stories emerged of people transforming overnight, some gaining incredible powers, to others succumbing to horrifying mutations. The line between hero and victim blurred, leaving society teetering on the brink of collapse. Amidst the uncertainty, the former soldier continued to push forward. They trained relentlessly, honing their newfound abilities while grappling with the haunting visions. Slowly they began piecing together fragments of information, uncovering clues about the Veilith's weaknesses. It was clear that the serum had awakened something extraordinary within them, something that transcended mere physical enhancement. They weren't just a soldier anymore. They were a symbol of resilience, a testament to humanity's capacity to adapt and overcome. As days turned into weeks, the pressure mounted. The Veilith fleet entered Earth's solar system, their sleek warships cutting through space like blades. A panic swept across the planet, spreading faster than the serum itself. Governments issued emergency broadcasts, urging citizens to stay calm and trust the process. Billions lined up at makeshift clinics, waiting anxiously to receive their dose of the serum. Scientists worked around the clock, scaling up production to meet the overwhelming demand. And yet, doubts lingered. What kind of world would emerge from this transformation? Would humanity rise stronger and united, or fracture under the weight of its own ambition? No one had the answers. Not the scientists, not the leaders, and certainly not the council watching from afar. All they could do was hope that the gamble would pay off, that the risk would be worth it, and that humanity would find a way to survive. The serum spread across Earth like wildfire, transforming humanity in ways no one could have predicted. Cities buzzed with energy as people discovered their newfound abilities, some subtle, others extraordinary. A street vendor who once struggled to carry heavy crates now lifted them effortlessly, his muscles rippling with strength he never knew he had. A shy librarian found herself able to read entire books in seconds, her mind processing information at lightning speed. Children played games that seemed impossible before, leaping over rooftops or running faster than cars. For the first time in weeks, there was a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. But not everything was sunshine and miracles. The transformation wasn't uniform. It varied wildly from person to person. Some individuals experienced minor changes, a heightened sense of smell, sharper vision, or increased stamina, and others underwent radical shifts, their bodies adapting in bizarre and unpredictable ways. One man grew scales that shimmered like liquid metal, making him nearly impervious to harm, but leaving him ostracized by those who feared his appearance. A woman developed wings made of translucent membranes, allowing her to glide through the air, but she couldn't control her landings, crashing into buildings and trees. These extreme cases became cautionary tales, reminders of the risks humanity had taken. Society itself began to fracture under the strain. In some communities, people embraced the changes, forming tight-knit groups based on shared abilities. They called themselves evolved and saw themselves as the next step in human development. But not everyone was so accepting. Fear and suspicion brewed in the shadows, fueled by ignorance and prejudice. Riots broke out in major cities as tensions boiled over. Ordinary citizens clashed with those who had transformed, accusing them of being unnatural or dangerous. Governments struggled to maintain order, deploying police forces ill-equipped to handle the escalating violence. Hospitals overflowed with casualties, both physical and emotional wounds taking their toll. Amidst the turmoil, the former soldier emerged as a beacon of stability. Their transformation remained unparalleled, blending raw power with eerie insight. They could move faster than the eye could follow, lift vehicles with ease, and endure injuries that would have killed an ordinary person. But it was their visions that truly set them apart. The cryptic images and fragmented memories continued to haunt them, and growing clearer with each passing day. Slowly they pieced together a pattern, a strategy hidden within the chaos. It was as if the serum had unlocked a latent connection to something greater, granting them glimpses of the Veilith's plans and vulnerabilities. Word of their progress spread quickly, drawing attention from leaders desperate for guidance. Military commanders sought their advice, hoping to leverage their abilities in the upcoming battle. Scientists studied them obsessively, trying to understand how their transformation differed from others. To many, they became a symbol of hope, a living testament to humanity's resilience. Yet the burden weighed heavily on their shoulders. Every decision they made carried consequences. Every action rippled outward, affecting billions of lives. They weren't just fighting for themselves anymore. They were fighting for everyone. As the Veilith fleet entered Earth's orbit, the tension reached a breaking point. Sleek warships descended upon major cities, unleashing devastating attacks. Alien drones swarmed the skies, firing beams of energy that reduced buildings to rubble. Ground forces deployed en masse, their advanced weaponry overwhelming conventional defenses. Humanity fought back with ferocity born of desperation. Enhanced soldiers clashed with alien invaders, turning urban landscapes into chaotic battlefields. Streets ran red with blood, the air thick with smoke and screams. Despite heavy losses, humanity refused to yield. The former soldier played a pivotal role in the resistance. Leading counterattacks, they rallied troops and civilians alike, inspiring courage in the face of despair. Their enhanced abilities turned the tide in key battles, allowing humanity to hold its ground against seemingly insurmountable odds. In one instance, they single-handedly destroyed an enemy command center, using their superhuman strength to tear through reinforced walls and disable critical systems. In another, they intercepted a transmission revealing the location of the Veilith flagship, providing crucial intel that shifted the course of the war. But the visions didn't stop. If anything, they grew more intense, more vivid. The soldier saw flashes of the Veilith homeworld, a barren planet scarred by centuries of conflict. They witnessed moments from the aliens' history, understanding their motivations and fears. It became clear that the Veilith weren't invincible. They were driven by desperation. Much like humanity, their resources were dwindling, their population decimated by endless wars. Earth wasn't just a target, it was a lifeline, a chance to rebuild what they had lost. This revelation changed everything. Humanity wasn't fighting a faceless enemy. They were battling a species clinging to survival, just like them. Armed with this knowledge, the soldier devised a daring plan. Instead of focusing solely on defense, they proposed a bold offensive aimed at crippling the Veilith fleet. Using the insights gained from their visions, they identified weak points in the alien armada and formulated strategies to exploit them. The plan was risky, requiring precise coordination and unwavering bravery. Failure meant annihilation. Success meant turning the tide of the war. Leaders hesitated, torn between fear and necessity. Deploying such a risky strategy could cost countless lives, but doing nothing guaranteed defeat. In the end, they agreed. Humanity had come too far to give up now. Troops mobilized, gathering in secret locations to prepare for the assault. Civilians pitched in, offering whatever support they could: food, supplies, shelter. Even those without enhanced abilities found ways to contribute, proving that survival wasn't just about strength, it was about unity. The night before the attack, the soldier stood alone on a hill overlooking the city. Below, lights flickered in the darkness, a reminder of the fragile world they were fighting to protect. The weight of responsibility pressed down on them, heavier than ever. They thought about the sacrifices already made, the lives lost, the families torn apart, the dreams shattered. And yet, amidst the pain, there was hope. Humanity had adapted, evolved, and risen to meet the challenge. No matter what happened next, they had proven one thing beyond doubt. When cornered, humanity always found a way to fight back. As dawn broke, the final preparations were complete. Ships launched, troops deployed, and the stage was set for the most important battle in human history. The soldier led the charge, their heart pounding with anticipation. Whatever lay ahead, they were ready. Humanity was ready. The battle began with a deafening roar, as humanity launched its most daring offensive yet. Ships surged forward, their engines blazing trails of fire across the sky. Enhanced soldiers leapt into action, moving faster than the eye could follow, their bodies honed to perfection by the serum. Civilians watched from rooftops and underground bunkers, holding their breath as the fate of Earth hung in the balance. This wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a statement. Humanity had adapted, evolved, and now it was ready to take the fight to the enemy. The former soldier led the charge, their presence inspiring both fear and awe. They moved like a force of nature, unstoppable and relentless. Alien drones fell before them, their advanced weaponry no match for the soldiers' raw power. With every strike, they pushed deeper into the heart of the Veilith fleet, carving a path toward the flagship. Behind them, waves of enhanced fighters followed, their abilities turning the tide of the battle. Some wielded telekinetic powers, hurling enemy ships off course. Others used heightened senses to anticipate attacks, dodging beams of energy with uncanny precision. It was chaos, but it was organized chaos, driven by desperation and determination. As the assault unfolded, the soldiers' visions guided them. Each flash of insight revealed another weakness, another opportunity to exploit. They directed troops with pinpoint accuracy, ensuring that every move counted. The Veilith fought back fiercely, their warships unleashing devastating salvos. Explosions lit up the sky, shaking the ground below. Buildings crumbled, streets turned to rubble, but humanity refused to falter. For every loss, there was a renewed surge of resolve. People fought not just for themselves, but for the future. A chance to rebuild, to heal, to thrive. The turning point came when the soldier reached the Veilith flagship. Boarding the massive vessel felt like stepping into another world. Its corridors pulsed with alien energy, walls shimmering with strange lights. The air was thick with tension, every corner hiding potential danger. But the soldier pressed on, driven by purpose. Their visions had shown them the ship's core, a pulsating sphere of energy that powered the entire fleet. Destroy it, and the Valith would be crippled. Reaching the core wasn't easy. Enemy forces swarmed the halls, determined to protect their prize. The soldier fought with everything they had, their strength and speed unmatched. Yet even they weren't invincible. Wounds accumulated, blood seeped through makeshift bandages, and exhaustion gnawed at their body. But they didn't stop. Every step brought them closer to victory or defeat. Finally, they stood before the core, its glow illuminating the room. The soldier hesitated for a moment, knowing what needed to be done. They planted explosives, setting a timer that would give them just enough time to escape. As they turned to leave, a group of Valith warriors blocked their path. There was no way out except through them. Summoning every ounce of strength, the soldier charged forward, engaging in a brutal melee. Metal clashed against flesh, energy crackled through the air, and the room shook with the fury of combat. When the dust settled, the soldier emerged victorious, but barely. Bloodied and battered, they stumbled toward the exit, the countdown ticking away in their mind. They made it out just in time. The flagship erupted in a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves through space. One by one, the remaining Valith ships fell silent, their systems failing without the core to sustain them. The battle was over, and humanity had won. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. People poured into the streets, cheering and embracing strangers. Fireworks lit up the night sky, painting it with colors brighter than any star. For the first time in weeks, there was laughter instead of tears, hope instead of despair. The war had left scars, both physical and emotional, but it had also forged something stronger: unity. Communities came together to rebuild, sharing resources and supporting one another. Those who had transformed became symbols of resilience, proof that humanity could adapt and overcome even the greatest challenges. The council reconvened to assess the aftermath. Initially dismissive, they now regarded humanity with a mix of awe and unease. Here was a species that had defied extinction, rewriting its own biology to survive. What once seemed impossible had become reality. Some council members argued that humanity's newfound abilities posed a threat, a destabilizing force in an already fragile galaxy. Others saw potential, intrigued by the audacity of a species willing to gamble everything for a chance at survival. In the end, they decided to monitor Earth closely, unsure whether to view it as an ally or a liability. On Earth, life slowly returned to normal, but nothing would ever truly be the same. Those who survived the serum's effects formed tight-knit communities, forging a new identity rooted in both vulnerability and strength. The former soldier became a legend, their story passed down through generations. They didn't seek fame or recognition. They simply wanted to help rebuild, to ensure that the sacrifices made during the war weren't forgotten. Their cryptic visions faded over time, leaving behind only fragments of memory. Yet they knew one thing for certain: humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons or technology, but in its capacity to evolve, not just physically, but morally and spiritually. Challenges still awaited: rebuilding cities, healing wounds, and addressing the ethical implications of the serum would take years, perhaps decades. But humanity had proven something undeniable. When cornered, it always found a way to unveil an option no one else saw coming. And though the road ahead was uncertain, one truth remained clear. Earth had earned its place among the stars.